Hi everyone, welcome on board to PERIDOT TV, where you get the reliable news that is tailored for you, and of course where you can actually comment and interact. I say a very big thank you to those who have taken time to subscribe to this channel, and if you're yet to subscribe, kindly tap on that subscription button and also the red bell icon so you will be notified whenever videos such as this are uploaded. The DSS questions and interrogates Sowore for alleged links to Boko Haram and Shiite movement and also IPOB. As you know that this administration has nothing against Sowore, and the only option available for them after flouting several court rulings, after acting in a gangster fashion at the court, they have decided to come up with a new pattern, a new twist, where they are questioning Omoyele Sowore over alleged link with terrorists. Before they claimed that Sowore traveled to United Arab Emirates, he met with terrorists and they gave him millions of dollars to come and topple Buhari's government. Unfortunately, they were unable to substantiate their claims. Sources familiar with the continued incarceration of Omoyele Sowore have told Premium Times the Nigerian activist was questioned earlier this week over purported ties to Boko Haram, a outlawed group that the government is presently granting amnesty, and it is on record that a military major or a military general, one of the top military dogs, said it on TV: if this Boko Haram terrorists can drop their arms, who knows, they can become president in Nigeria. Which country have you found someone that has been associated with terrorism now become president later because they turned a new leaf? In fact, according to the constitution, if you've gone to prison for a crime, you cannot become president of Nigeria. Terrorism allegations were the focus of a grilling session conducted with Mr. Sowore by State Security Service operatives on November 12th, and they went further to question him again this December. Agents have been asking him to tell them about his relationship with Boko Haram, Islamic Movement of Nigeria, that is the one headed by El Zaki, and also the indigenous people of Biafra. They wanted him to tell them what he went to speak, what he went to the United States of America to do with Nnamdi Kanu. It was televised, but they claimed that IPOB is a terrorist group. They prescribed it, whatever they want to prescribe it. What a shame. We live in a country where mediocrity is given the honor. He has continued to deny any relationship with all of these groups. In line with terrorism, Sowore met with IPOB leader, a fighter, someone that is fighting to free captives from the clutches of tyranny. Boko Haram was outlawed by the Jonathan's administration and later designated a foreign terrorist organization by the United States in November 2013. President Muhammadu Buhari categorization of Shiite, IMN and separatist IPOB has remained one of the most controversial decisions of his government, with opinions splitting over whether a religious or self-determination group could be outlawed under a secular constitutional democracy. The information came 10 days after Nigerians have been demanding official explanation for the controversial rearrest of Omoyele Sowore on December 6th. The questioning indicated the secret police has started fresh plot to file yet another set of criminal charges against the Sahara Reporters, CEO, convener of revolutionary protest, and will likely be before another judge that they are calling on. They are cooking up a judge, and I'm giving you guys this for free. You'll be shocked that the judge will be Hausa Fulani. If it's not an Hausa Fulani, they will look for someone that probably they've given some amount of money or they've threatened. But I believe the person will be an Hausa Fulani or maybe from the Middle Belt. They might even decide to punish
and shame by looking for an Igbo judge. It came a week after Mr. Sowore was violently seized from a federal courtroom by armed agents of the SSS, a domestic intelligence outfit reputable for acts of repression, oppression, and targeted attacks on anti-government voices. Mr. Sowore was released the night preceding the December 6th court invasion when the SSS pretended to obey the order of the federal judge, Justice INTERR0GATED, handling the case. Sowore Reporters publisher was arrested, and I use the word kidnapped, abducted, on August 3rd for leading Revolution Now campaign, a series of nationwide protests he had planned with other activists to demand a better Nigeria. Following his arrest, the SSS accused Mr. Sowore of terrorism, treason, among other claims, for using the word revolution while rallying Nigerians ahead of the protest scheduled to take off across the country, 21 Nigerian towns and cities, on August 5th. On November 8th, a federal judge granted an initial remand order for the SSS to hold Mr. Sowore in custody for 45 days, even though they requested for 90 days to conclude investigation, to cook up stories into terrorism claims against them. Mr. Sowore remained in custody through the 45 days despite the criticism that greeted the court's decision to grant Sowore such an extensive period to keep a citizen despite failing to present any evidence of crime. By the time charges were eventually filed, about 50 days after Mr. Sowore was arrested, no reference was made to terrorism. The SSS charged Mr. Sowore for treason, money laundering, and purported defamation and abuse, insult of President Buhari's character. The charges were prepared by the Attorney General Abubakar Malami's office, and that is still the Minister of Justice. Simply is the legal representative or advisor to the government, federal government. Following his initial arraignment after the charges were filed on September 20, Mr. Sowore was granted bail on September 24 by Justice Taiwo Taiwo of the Federal High Court in Abuja, but the SSS declined to respect the judicial pronouncement. Instead, he was arraigned before another judge on similar charges. On November 6, the second judge, INTERR0GATED, signed a release warrant for Mr. Sowore, but the SSS failed to comply. It took Mr. Sowore 1 month between October 4th, when Mrs. Ojukwu first granted him bail on stringent terms, and November 6th, when he made the court demand after his lawyers convinced the judge to relax the conditions. After court papers were served on the SSS showing Mr. Sowore had made the bail terms and a judge had signed warrant for his arrest, the SSS repeatedly declined to honor order, jumping from one excuse to the other, such as he might be hit by a car, such as they are waiting for the shorties to come and sign some special papers with them, which is against the Constitution. 3 weeks after the SSS ignored Mrs. Ojukwu's order to release Mr. Sowore, the judge threatened to hold its Director General, Yusuf Bichi, in contempt. But the threat did not appear to shake the secret police. As you know, they are all the same. It's the same military junta. They are controlled by the President Buhari, Major General Buhari, aka Al-Sudani, without any external oversight mechanism for accountability. There is no other, it's not the Senate, it's not even the court that can control the SSS. They do whatever they like. That is just what it is. They just do whatever they feel they can get themselves involved in. One of the lawyers representing Mr. Sowore, Efyong, said the fresh terrorism charges being plotted by the SSS were the same claims that the agency had previously investigated but found nothing substantial for which to charge Sowore. The charges are clearly not fresh, Mr. Efyong said in response to Premium Times inquiry about ongoing plots to rearrange his client on terrorism charge. They are just looking for something to hide behind to continue their impunity. The SSS has declined to issue any explanation for the rearrest of Omoyele Sowore on December 6th. So what they're going to do is to get some voice note or some criminals like themselves from the north that will come and say, yes, Omoyele Sowore collected money from us. They don't even mind to set him up and come up with some amount of money, and they say, yes, this is the money we gave to him. But then that would be the last straw. The activist was just kept in custody in apparent violation of his fundamental human rights, the Nigerian Criminal Justice statutes, which prohibit keeping a suspect beyond 48 hours without charges. But then, what do you expect? We are under tyranny. We are under autocracy, nepotism, military junta. That is just what it is. Buhari cares less about nobody. Unfortunately, people were gullible to have allowed him to come in. But then, it is because the past administration, previous, are all thieves and criminal. They've looted the economy. We will not say we prefer Goodluck Jonathan and we want to embrace Buhari. They are both operating in the same terrain. The only difference is this: one person is now involved in violent autocracy. During Goodluck Jonathan era, there was a lot of corruption. Many of these people that were involved in this corrupt act ran out of Nigeria. What is the difference between these people and Abacha and the rest of the criminals, generals that are still alive? They are the problems that we are facing right now. It is because charity, they say, begins at home. It is because someone that we expect him to practice democracy and be accountable. Goodluck Jonathan, a civilian, someone that said he came from Otueke and the rest of that, he never had a shoe. We expected him to have performed even more better. We know there were security issues, but if he wanted to stand his ground strong, he would. Well, Obasanjo couldn't stop Boko Haram. He was a military general. He came in as a civilian. He was unable to stop all of these things. So we expected and we thought someone that is a full-blown, full civilian would do the right thing. But that administration was riddled with corruption. Buhari's administration, it is about collecting back what some people have stolen. Then the money passes through some other terrain into some pockets. They show certain things that they claim that they've done. And what we have now is authoritarian rule. This is not democracy. So Mr. Effiong also criticized Mr. Malami for playing to the gallery in his recent request to the SSS asking for Sowore's case to be transferred to his office. What does that mean? How can Sowore's case be transferred to the office of the senior or the top lawyer or the representative of the government when it comes to the law? Which constitution shows that this works? The Attorney General office has always been in charge of the case files, and it was the office that filed the initial charge against Sowore. So when the government has a case against someone, it is the Attorney General that goes in, gets the case worked on and present it out. That is how it works. So how can he ask that the case should be brought to his own table? He is supposed to end the charade that their government has embarked on, rather than claiming he is taking over a matter he has been overseeing from his own end. The Attorney General did not immediately return a request for comments from Premium Times. He has kept mute, and we know that this is more than him. Why? Because they've sold their souls to the devil. That is just what it is. So guys, this is a new development. What is your own take about it? If you're not a member of this channel, let us build it together, and we can do so by you tapping on the subscription button and the red notification icon bell below. It is free. Let's grow this channel together. That notification icon bell will simply alert you whenever videos such as this are uploaded. Thanks for stopping by.